Hello. So I'm making a small introduction here because our program got a bit messed up with everything being very different to how different to as expected. Um, so now the contents of clothing is on the program now, and we show it a little bit later. In the meanwhile, we're going to show now the small interview we did with Livia Rita. We wanted to send it live, but it was impossible. So we tried to be quick, but it was not possible to do it on spot. So now we're gonna show a little sneak peek in Livia Rita's show, rehearsals for the show, and after that we're gonna immediately show the contents of clothing, and we're not gonna show it here because this is a it's not like it should not be shown publicly yet, and so we made a secret page, so you can go to another link, and I will put it under the stream after we showed the Livia Rita sneak peek. So enjoy.
Ja, ich will mal überkopieren, aber gut. Der eine Video ist über eine Viertelstunde und der andere ist einfach der Abschluss.
welches Geschenk hättet ihr gern? Werdet jetzt Swisscom Internet oder Mobile-Kunde und wählt selber eins von diesen smarten Produkten aus. Für einen komfortableren Alltag.
Mit Vertuo Next hat Nespresso den Kaffeestandard ein weiteres Mal neu definiert. Neu Vertuo.
Hello, we are here in this beautiful, brutal architectural place of Tet Deco, and we're visiting Livia Rita, who's an artist and musician, and she is here and is about to tell us a bit about what she's doing here. Like, we're getting the chance to sneak peek of the production. So, hello Livia.
Hello. Hello.
Will you tell us a little bit about your work and what you're rehearsing for?
Of course. So where to start? We start with the rehearsing. We are here working on a live performance of my coming debut album, Fuga Futura, and we are working on one song. You'll then get an impression of one song, and what we did is we developed. We had a musical album, and we developed visual worlds and art fashion around each song, or kind of more a bigger in-between world or universe that grows with the album. So every song has its kind of own visual language and its own art fashion, etc. So in here we will see the rehearsal of the single and song Scream It, which came out last week. And for that one, for example, now, like, how do we go about creating these visual worlds? I developed a creature towards every song, so I tried to kind of create an identity out of a song, and with the identity also comes shapes like body forms or textures or skin or emotions, spells, rituals. So it's kind of like really thinking up what does this song in essence translate into a visual world. And for this specific one, for example, Scream It, it's the wildfire, spirit of an untamed dragon. And the art fashion pieces in there, they're very sculptural. They, for example, are created through heat. So it's like melting. I had old candles that I melted and I threw them into the snow, and that gave these shapes. Or for example, there is also PET bottles that we melted with heat. So it's kind of, it just all tries to pick up on what a song is about, or could be about, or what it could feel like, what it could evoke. And in this sense, it's kind of this, it's a love song, but a more kind of, let's say, a stimulation of our raw emotions to explore their power. And that's how the Scream It came, that's how the fire came, and that's then how we ended up with those shapes of art fashion.
Wow, cool. Now you mentioned this untamed dragon. Is that right? And you're also a climate activist. Can you tell us a bit about your background? How you came up with this kind of work that you're doing, and so passionate, intense things that's the way to deal with the world. Yeah,
of course. I think I was very lost for a very long time in my what is it I want to do and how I want to do it. I think it took me some time. It's so funny we're talking about climate activism and we have all this traffic noise. It's quite not there, yeah. So I think I started with fashion for 1 year, but then I think I realized what I care about is the expression. So that just took me a bit on some journey in exploring. I studied performance, I did a lot of singing and dancing, and I think I kind of realized that they're all very related, but I couldn't really make sense out of it. but then I realized, okay, actually in the end, all these art forms just help in communicating a message. They just all want to express something, and I think today kind of makes sense to have these other art forms that come together with fashion design essentially to express. So the focus is not anymore on the piece itself actually, or on the garment itself, but it's much more on what it wants to say, that this starts to become actually the focus. And for that it's nice to kind of create environments in which they can live. And I think with the climate activism it's the same. It's about, I think it's kind of a new identity as well, or it's not new, but it's a sense of identity. It's not just ideas, it's kind of, it becomes also a feeling, it becomes a community. And I think that's what I find really interesting, and it's a movement that will have sound and all these things. So I think hopefully, it's interesting, I talk to a few scientists and they always go back, but they can maybe convince what we can't convince. Yes. So I do take that, I do think about that a lot, and I do think how art in general can give different energy into climate activism, and I think there's a lot of potential that actually we haven't even discovered yet. So I really think I'm just starting to think about it, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well, and I think there's so much potential. Yes, I think
especially with the pop culture, because then you can reach outside of the bubble, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think that's a big problem, this bubble, and this kind of, we can't think of climate change as bubble. It's something that needs to include everyone, or at least many more than it does now, I guess. I mean, it's starting to, but so that's very true. That's very true. Like, how can we think outside? But how can we create stuff for outside of our bubble as well? And that's,
or activate people who, in the first place, didn't care so much, but just were like, okay, yeah, there's something happening and it's bad, but I go party. And so they're interested in pop music, and so they get in touch with your content, right?
Yeah, maybe it's like what fashion trends did before, or pop music still always does, like kind of attract people to join something. Maybe that needs to be applied now to this kind of climate change, that it becomes like an attractive thing. And obviously, like, people should because of care for other human beings, but maybe care for nature and care for all creatures, but for the planet. But but I think it's absolutely, in the end, it has to become much more than just science. And the fear or something that catastrophe is far away, isn't it? And I think that's hard to connect to daily, like it will be bad in 100 years. I think we kind of need to bring it to
drag it close,
relevant to drag it close every day without it being an immense effort, because many people will not be ready to do that immense effort and think of something that needs a lot of effort to really imagine what it would be like. So if you manage to bring it into the now and into everyone's concern, into a daily thing, like habits, like trends and pop culture used to be, like they kind of intrude your everyday decision. If it manages to get on that level, a part of our identity, I think that would be what would make the change, right?
Yes, we need to have it in the now. That's true.
Yeah.
So let's go inside and untamed the dragon.
So I'm rehearsing in there with some wonderful dancers and performers and actresses. There's some fashion pieces around, so feel free to roam around, and cool. People, like a lion, when they are here and it's still a lion, is kind of so scary, or it's kind of really interesting. It stands still, but you don't know what you're going to do. So you can embrace that here as well. That was not here. Yes. Good. on this one on like on moments of tension, yeah?
And also stillness.
Yeah, yeah. Stillness.
So here, this is
that's
this
maybe the
plastic
same
thrown
actually.
on the snow,
Tension
right?
happens also often similar. On and being aware of each other, using the levels and yeah. Okay. Okay, irgendwie say. What is my computer?
It looks like it works just fine.
It's good, yeah.
Hey, thank you very much, Livia. It was really impressive. We don't want to show too much, because people are supposed to come and watch your show, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And, your show is when?
So we are doing an exhibition in Kulturfolgewil in May, actually. And this performance will come to life at on 10th, 11th of June at the Rota Fabrik.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, and then, but we are also filming this now with a VR camera. With a 360 camera, so one can then watch it, be in the middle of the performance and watch it 360 degrees.
With the light in the face. And your dancers, are they students from the dance department, or are you here because of the context of being in school?
No, nothing to do with being in school. Zero. -10.
So
No,
all professional dancers.
I mean, some of us are still learning. I think all of us are still learning. Yes, but they're from diverse backgrounds and yeah.
Well, I'm really excited and looking forward to your show. And of course, we will announce it on Fashion Revolution webpage. So it would be cool if you send us the link.
Of course, happily. Super happily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for watching. Yeah. So we're off to the studio.